What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, look, the onslaught of incredible physical media releases does not stop around here in the Mid-Level Media movie dungeon. And I have in my hands right now one of my most anticipated releases for the remainder of 2023, the Psycho 4K box set, collector set, limited edition collector set from Arrow Video. I was so excited when they announced these because these are movies I've been watching since I was a kid. I was the biggest fan of Psycho when I was a kid, and I watched all of these sequels. I haven't seen some of these sequels in probably over 20 years. I am super excited to dive in here to watch these, to check out the 4K quality and dive into some of the special features. I think there's some new special features in some of these as well. But before we get into all that, guys, I'm going to take this over to the unboxing table. We're going to do a full unboxing. I'm going to give you the full tour of this box set. Then I'm going to go watch the films. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about all of these movies, the transfers, the sound, the special features, all that stuff. We're doing the full Psycho 4K box set review here today. I am so excited, guys. So damn excited to talk about this set. Let's go ahead and do it, guys. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this Psycho 4-film 4K collection. Now, these are still available on Diabolic, on Grindhouse. I think on Diabolic it's $69.99, and Grindhouse is actually a little bit cheaper for $64.99. If you don't want to pay the import cost for Arrow Video, you can order from them, and it's only $5 shipping. So I always encourage people to, if you live in the States at least, to order from Diabolic, and Grindhouse or Orbitz will probably have these as well. So it's not sold out yet. There are still some available, and you can also, get on the Arrow Video website and order them as well. But yeah, I love this box set. I love the trend of Arrow Video doing slipcovers on their box set releases. That seems to be something they're doing more and more of. And I like the aesthetic of this slipcover. You got all the titles on here, but it also kind of simulates that shower curtain. So I think that's super cool. Go ahead and take this slipcover off. And on the back, it has all the specs and stuff, which I probably should have showed you that before I took it off the actual case. So let me put this back on here, and I'll do it again. I'm gonna be all over the place, guys. It's still kind of hard to read, but if you guys want to read the back of this, I'll kind of zoom up in phases. You guys can stop and read it, pause it if you want to read all the specs and everything that's involved. I'm pretty sure they're on the individual cases as well. But just a spectacular box set. So we'll take it out of the slipcover again. I'll show you the side. I'll show you the back. You got the iconic Bates house on the back with the mom in the window. Super cool. And yeah, it's just a great box set. Nice, sturdy Arrow Video box set. It's just like all their other box sets. Their limited edition releases are just a little bigger and thicker. So, all right. And I couldn't wait. I'd already took some of these out, and they're very hard to get out of this actual case. I'll say that. They are pretty tight in there. All right, so let's slide those out, and I'll put the book on the bottom, go through these real quick, put Psycho on the top, and yeah, all of these have newly commissioned artwork in them. So right here we have Psycho, and I love the artwork on this. This is red, and you can see the mom up there in the corner, the skeleton of Norma Bates, which is awesome. You have the iconic house. So yeah, I love the commissioned artwork on this one. This is probably my favorite of all of them, to be honest. And then you got the spine right there. Flip it on the back. Kind of scroll up and down. Show you everything that this has. And I'm pretty sure that this does not have anything new in terms of special features. This is all the same stuff that has been on previous releases of Psycho from Universal. And this is not a new scan or restoration or anything. It's the exact same as the Universal 4K. So nothing is different about this, but I do like that they included this because, for one, if you never bought the first one on 4K, it's a good opportunity to do so. And another, you don't want an incomplete box set with only 3 of the films. So open it up. Awesome disc art right there. You have the arrow symbol in the middle, but just, Marion Crane right there. And then Psycho right there. Super awesome. And then we'll go ahead and show you got 3 art cards, I think, in each one of these. Iconic image of Anthony Perkins. And there you got Vera Miles. Great image right there. And you got stuff on the back of these as well. I think it's just the artwork. the commissioned artwork on the back. Same on each one. I'm literally shaking with excitement, guys, over this box. It's so crazy how excited I get for stuff like this, especially when it's stuff I really love. All right, so we got a double-sided poster here with the original poster artwork. I think that's the original. I feel like there was something different. Is this the original? Flip it on the back. You got the commissioned artwork. So yeah, very cool. Very cool indeed. And then we'll pick up the cards. That's just a regular, you know, this is in every Arrow release, just kind of promoting some of the other things Arrow's got going on. And this, oh, of course, reversible cover art, guys. Reversible cover arts with the original poster, which is super awesome and super iconic. And yes, I own Psycho on 4K like 3 other times, but, you know, I've got it for a 4th time, and that's cool. So there you go. There's Psycho. Let's go ahead and get into Psycho 2, which I am super excited to revisit this one. Some of these sequels I haven't seen, like I said, in over 20 years. The 4th one I've probably seen more recently. I love that one. But great artwork on this one. Great newly commissioned artwork. Super awesome. You got the spine right there. You got the back. Just when you thought it was safe to step back in the shower. I love how they kind of stole the tagline for Jaws 2. That's pretty cool. And there you go. Kind of keep scrolling up. But yeah, the cinematographer in this was Dean Cundey, who of course did Halloween and The Thing. So there is a lot of, you know, credibility to this movie. It was written by Tom Holland. So yeah. And just kind of let you all read all that. And right there, guys, it says, a lot of people ask me about this, are they selling these separately? They are not. You can only get these sequels on 4K in this box set, as you can see right there, not to be sold separately. And the reason for that is a lot of the times when Arrow Video, you know, makes these deals for these franchises and these movies, they make the deal for all of them and they have to release them together. That's a part of the deal. So you're probably not going to see individual releases of these movies on 4K, at least not anytime soon, and not from Arrow Video. Maybe in the US you may see them from Universal, but you got Anthony Perkins right there. You got Meg Tilly, and you got Vera Miles, who came back in Psycho 2. Again, this movie's got a lot of credibility as a legitimate horror sequel. All right, so you got the poster right here, and I think this poster of Psycho 2 is honestly like just as iconic as the first. This is like freaking awesome. It's 22 years later and Norman Bates is coming home. Like, that's really cool. Really cool. And the other side, I keep forgetting. I'm just so excited to watch these. I'm trying to get through this. And you got the newly commissioned artwork right there. And we'll go ahead and show you the reversible cover art. Awesome stuff. Yeah, I like the original posters for these movies, so I'll more than likely keep these flipped. Not that the newly commissioned artwork is bad or anything, but it's not as good as the original posters. All right, so Psycho 3, this is pretty cool. I like the artwork on this one, and it definitely holds significance, you know, for the movie. I do remember that iconic shot of Anthony Perkins in this movie. Very freaky. Yeah, Psycho 3, but yeah, I haven't seen this movie for a very long time as well. Got the spine right there. And then you got the synopsis and all that stuff, special features. Go ahead and open it up. You got some cool disc arts. And you got the cards again as well. Boom, boom, boom. You got the double-sided poster. Anthony Perkins. And I think this is a great poster too. But yeah, I like the artwork on all these though. The new artwork and the posters. I just think it's all so cool. This is a great release from Arrow Video. Great release. And I always forget to do the reversible cover arts. Go ahead and flip it. If I can get it in there. There we go. Yeah, I think this original poster is super cool. Just, you know, Anthony Perkins looking all maniacal and psychotic in front of the Bates Motel, holding the key for room number 1. Lucky room number 1. Very cool. All right, so we got Psycho 4 the beginning, and I think the artwork on this one is freaking awesome. You got Henry Thomas, obviously, who plays young Norman Bates. You got kind of part of the skeleton skull of Norman Bates in the middle of his head. I think that's really cool. The house is on fire. Yeah, that's really awesome. The artwork on that's really awesome. Flip it to the back, and again, I'll scroll down on this. You've met Norman, now meet Mother. Yeah, played by Olivia Hussey in this movie. Who's kind of a, you know, I'd say a genre, I don't want to call her a scream queen, but she's definitely, you know, a big horror actress for sure. And with this one, you also get the TV, not the TV cut, but you get it in the original TV aspect ratio on a separate disc. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is the only 2-disc one. You have Psycho 4 the beginning, and then you have Psycho 4 the beginning, the TV aspect ratio version. So if you want, and these are both 4K. It's not like this is lower quality, but if you want to watch it in the original TV aspect ratio, you can. And you can also watch it with the widescreen. All right. And for some reason, this one does not include art cards, which is kind of weird, unless they're inside this poster. But I wonder why they didn't have art cards in this one. Did they short me art cards, maybe? I hope not. All right, so we'll show you the poster, front and back, really cool. Go ahead and fold this up again. And yeah, the poster on this one is freaking awesome too. I love all the posters. You can't beat Norman Bates in front of the house. Like that's all you have to do. Just put Norman Bates on the front with a house in the background, and it's iconic. Like that's pretty much all you have to do. That's what all these are, basically. Except for the first one, that's, you know, Janet Leigh. But very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. And we'll go ahead and put this over to the side. And yeah, I just can't shake the feeling that I was shorted art cards. Like, that doesn't make any sense. The other ones have art cards and that one doesn't. Maybe because of the extra disc. I don't know. But all right. And you got a nice little booklet right here. I think this is almost 200 pages. No, not quite 200 pages. Sorry. I think it's 120 pages. But really cool stuff. You got stuff about the restoration right there. And Psycho 2, 3, and 4, the restorations were done by Arrow Video. Well, actually, they were done by the Heavenly Movie Corporation, but they were supervised by Arrow Video. So, and yeah, great cover right here. I love it. You just can't get any more iconic than that, you know, except for Norman Bates in front of the house. But I'll kind of flip through here a little bit. You got some good stuff, good images, and a lot of essays and stuff about all the movies. So a lot of interesting reading material. And yeah, you can't beat the books. You know, you got to have your books, even if you don't ever read them, you got to have them. But what a spectacular box set, guys. I haven't even gotten to the movies yet, but I'm just over the moon with this box set. So yeah, let's go watch these movies, and then I will come back and we'll talk about it some more. Let's do it. All right, I am back, and I just got done binge watching all of these Psycho sequels. Now, I will say up front that I did not rewatch Psycho on 4K. I popped the disc in just to make sure that it worked, but I did not rewatch this 4K because I've seen this 4K 3 or 4 times. It is the exact same transfer that Universal did back in 2020. So everything about this release is the same. It has the uncut version on it as well. It has all the same special features that the Universal 4K did. So everything about this 4K is exactly the same. I hate to have it so many times in my collection because now I think I now have this 4K like 4 times in the collection because I've got 2 Steelbooks and the Alfred Hitchcock Collection Volume 1. But I am glad that they included it in the set because just from a collector standpoint, you want your collection to be complete. So I'm glad they included it, but I didn't need it in this set. So yeah, the 4K looks beautiful though. From what I remember, this is one of the best looking black and white 4Ks that there is. And this movie, I've seen this movie like 150 times. I love this film. I've been watching it since I was 10 years old. This is probably maybe the first horror film that I've ever seen, this and It 1990. So always love this movie. It's one of my favorites and the 4K looks great. So I'll just get that. If you didn't already have this in your collection, this will definitely be a treat for you to view in 4K for the first time for sure in this set. So yeah, getting the first one out of the way. And I was trying to think about how I wanted to approach this review. Do I want to review these one at a time, go through everything individually? And then I was like, why don't I just talk about the movies kind of in a broad sense? Because it's been forever since I've seen most of these. I think the only one that I've seen semi-recently, probably 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, was Psycho: The Beginning, because I just always like to revisit this one. This is just one of my favorites. But 2 and 3 I haven't seen in such a long time. So we're going to talk about the actual movies themselves. Then we're going to talk about the transfer just all together in a broad sense, all 3 of these movies at once. Because this is the first time on 4K for all 3 of these movies. These are all brand new Arrow Video restorations. All right, let's go ahead and start here with the actual movies. Like I said, it's been a while. I always remembered these movies being good, though. I always remember enjoying these films. But what I will say up front is, if you think this is some kind of like cheap cash grab by Arrow Video to put out Psycho and the sequels suck. The first one's great, but the sequels suck. If it's that kind of, you think it's that kind of deal, it is not. These are actually like legitimately good horror films. The second one, I would honestly, like after watching it, would put almost right up there with the first. It is such a great horror sequel. And that one came out 22 years after the first one. It is so impressive to come out 22 years after such an iconic horror film and still justify your existence, still have a reason to be there. And all of these movies, to be honest, they justify their existence. They feel like they are necessary for this story. You want to know more about Norman Bates as a character because I think he was so well set up in the original, so well established. He's such he has so much depth to him as a character. There's so many layers, and the more of those layers that you peel back, the more you want to know about Norman Bates, the more you get into his psyche. And I just think the way that Anthony Perkins plays him, not just in the first film, but in the second, third, and fourth, is just so great that I think that's why all of these sequels work. And because he acted in all 3 of these sequels, it definitely gives them a little bit of credibility. So Psycho 2, though, I would say is the best one of the 3. So I'm not gonna sit here and say just because I've got a lot of nostalgia for the 4th one, that's the best one. Psycho 2 is definitely by far the best directed. It's the best written. Tom Holland actually wrote this movie, who wrote and directed Fright Night, who wrote and directed Child's Play with Don Mancini. So there's a lot of credibility to this film. You got the score by Jerry Goldsmith, which is great. The cinematography was done by Dean Cundy, who also did the cinematography for The Thing and Halloween. So there's just a lot of like legitimate names that worked on this film, and it just works as a movie. It's very compelling. The mystery aspects are set up very well. The character of Norman Bates returning to his hometown, to his house, to his motel, and all the situations and people that he has to encounter and difficulties that he faces, as a result of coming back after all these years and everybody knows he's a murderer. And just a very compelling, well-told story that honestly has like a lot of twists and turns. Once you get into that like second, third act, there's a lot of things that happen, a lot of unexpected stuff, things that I didn't quite remember. I remembered some things about what happened at the end, but I didn't remember everything. And it's the perfect transition. The end of this movie transitions perfectly into the third one. And I just feel like they feel such in the same universe. This one takes place like a month after. They flow together so well. They don't feel disjointed at all. Like I said, every sequel has a purpose. Like the first one flows into this perfectly, flows into this perfectly. And they're definitely like stylistically, they're very different. They all had different directors. This was directed by Rich Franklin. And this was actually directed by Anthony Perkins himself. So with this one, it's really cool and interesting because Anthony Perkins, you can just tell, has a certain level of reverence for the franchise, for the first movie, because there's tons of callbacks to the first film in this. You have a girl, the main girl looks just like Marion Crane. So there's a lot of callbacks there, but just stylistically, it's a really interesting film. It feels very 80s slasher. There's some giallo vibes thrown in there, but just the way he directs it, it's just a visually appealing movie. And you can just tell that he took a lot of the tricks from the big directors he worked with, like Hitchcock and Orson Welles, and just applied it to this film. But it's definitely the 80s slasher of the Psycho franchise. There's a lot of good kills, a lot of blood, a lot of gore, a lot of silliness as well throughout the movie. But don't let that take away from the second one. This one's also really gory and a lot of great kills in that one as well. But then you go to Psycho 4, and this is the origin story. And it's a very interesting way that they tell this story. They use this radio show, this host who's like trying to interview these serial killers and find out what makes them tick. And Norman Bates calls into the show and he's reflecting on his past. So I don't really think all the stuff that happens like outside the flashbacks is particularly, for one, realistic, but also interesting. I'm not really interested in Norman Bates as much as Anthony Perkins, Norman Bates as much in this movie as I am in the other two sequels. But I do think that Henry Thomas, who plays the younger Norman Bates, is really great in the role and is definitely a great replacement for Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates. As we learn more about Norman Bates as a character, like I said, you keep pulling back those layers and it just continues to get super interesting from there. But I think it's a well-directed movie. It's directed by Mick Garris, who's kind of big in the horror genre. He's done a lot of movies, directed a lot of films. I can't think of what he's done off the top of my head, but I know he's done other films and other franchises before. So it's a well-directed movie, and I just really like the flashback scenes. You got Olivia Hussey, who plays his mom. She's really great, and I just remember always liking this because as a kid, being a big fan of Halloween, I never wanted to know the backstory of Michael Myers, which is why Rob Zombie's Halloween pissed me off so much when it came out. I never wanted to know that backstory. I wanted to learn more about Norman because he is such an interesting character, and there is so much under the surface of him. So I wanted to learn more about Norman Bates. So I liked this prequel, going back and learning, you know, how he poisoned his mom and all that stuff and what he did after and how he did kill people before Marion Crane and just how it tells that story. So, and also I just think it's really visually well done as well. It's kind of a period piece because you go back in the 50s. So I like this movie a lot. It's a made-for-TV movie, but to be honest, like, it doesn't feel like one. But yeah, I think that these are all great sequels. I really do. This one is damn near a masterpiece. Probably one of the best horror sequels ever made. This one's a really great slasher film, still with a great performance by Anthony Perkins. And this is a really great kind of like origin story, telling the beginning story of Norman Bates. So I think that these are all good sequels, all solid sequels. And if I was taking the remake out of the equation with Vince Vaughn, I would say this is maybe top 3 horror franchises of all time, just based on quality of movies. So don't go into this box set thinking you're just buying it for Psycho. Like, you're buying it for these sequels too, because these are really great films, and I would highly recommend every single one of them. So getting into the transfers, those guys, these are all brand new 4K restorations with HDR10, and I thought they all look stunning. Like Arrow Video, guys, I just watching these movies, and I just watched The Exorcist a few days ago, and I was just like, God, I wonder what would happen if Arrow Video would have done The Exorcist, because these, to me, are the kind of 4K restorations that I want out of these classic horror films, out of these classic films in general. Whereas The Exorcist, I thought it was good, but I was definitely like not as happy with some moments in the movie. Whereas these look great, like all throughout, super clean, super crisp. The detail is extraordinary on all 3 of these. But as I go watching these movies, like Psycho 2 looks fantastic. But when I got to Psycho 3, or Psycho 3 is right here, guys. When I got to Psycho 3, I was like, damn, like this is freaking awesome. And I think that visually Psycho 3 is just a lot more colorful, so that HDR has more of an opportunity to really shine. Because you have Anthony Perkins bringing that vibrant flair to the direction, there's just a lot more colors and moments to shine in this movie. So I thought Psycho 3 looked great, but when I got to Psycho 4, and I wasn't sure what this one was gonna look like because it was made for TV, this one, honestly, to me, looked the best. Like, I was the most happy with this one. And I think it's because a lot of the flashbacks, you know, in the 50s, the motel's a lot cleaner, the house is a lot cleaner. Everything just looks better because it's back in the past, because this is kind of a period piece film. But some of these moments, guys, that girl in the red top in the beginning, like when she's going up, just her contrasted with that house in the background. When he kills her up in the bedroom, you had the fireworks going off and all the colors are just extraordinary. But the level of detail in this one was really just crazy good. Like, I was so happy with it. There's this sequence where Olivia Hussey's like walking up to Norman as he's outside, you know, in the rain without a shirt, and she's bringing him a raincoat, and it's yellow, or some kind of yellow coat, and she's walking up, and you have all the rain just like dripping all over, and the vibrancy from the yellow coat because of that HDR. All that stuff just looks excellent. So I was extremely happy with Psycho 4. All of these looked fantastic. absolutely fantastic. I have no issue with any of these, but Psycho 4 just really stood out to me. So all of these look great. And again, the first one just looks fantastic as well. Getting into the sound here though, and I'm sorry, I'm so disorganized, but I'm just like flopping cases and discs everywhere. But on the second one, you have a 5.1 and 2.0 option. I listened to all these with the 2.0 and I thought they all sounded great. When I switched up to the 5.1 for some reason, and this may have to do with my sound bar and subwoofer, my sound situation out there, but it doesn't really have that problem when I'm watching other movies. But for some reason, the voices were a little laggy. Not like too much, but I could just tell like a half a second lag from my sound system to the actual voices as I talk. So I switched it to the 2.0 and didn't have that problem. So I watched all these with the 2.0. That's my preferred viewing of these movies for sure. But the third one also has the 2.0 and the 5.1. And the Psycho 4 just has the 2.0 mono, so it does not have that 5.1. But yeah, everything sounded great to me. I love the score, like on all these movies. Like the second one is great, Jerry Goldsmith, but the third one I thought was awesome too. And the fourth one's kind of an homage, a callback to Bernard Herrmann's score from the first one. I think actually Graham Revell did that one, he did one of the Child's Play films. So, but yeah, everything sounded great with these movies. Getting into the special features. We'll start with Psycho 2. You get a brand new audio commentary here. You get the older audio commentary with Tom Holland, but everything else on this release is you get, I'm pretty sure they're older features from previous releases. Now, they're not in this set because this set is very bare bones. It only has the special features for the first one. None of the special features from the sequels are in this set, but there are Shout Factory, Scream Factory releases of part 2 and 3, I believe, and I don't have those in my collection, so I can't compare what's in these sets with those. So there is some stuff in here that I felt like might be new, but it wasn't saying it was new. You have Giving Block His Due, an interview with Chet Williams, author of Psycho Sanitarium, on the legacy of Norman Bates' creator. So that was a really interesting interview because apparently he wrote the sequel that the movie was based on, even though Robert Bloch wrote a sequel himself that the movie is not based on. But then you have a bunch of like archival special features, older interviews that were clearly done back when the movie was made. So I don't know if those were on like previous DVD releases or if they were on the Shout Factory version, but they are included here. I just don't know if they're new to this set or not. But you do get the new audio commentary. That is what is new with Psycho 2. And then with Psycho 3, you actually have a lot of new stuff in this one. You get a brand new audio commentary here with Psycho 3 with Michael Brook and Johnny Maines, who are the same people that do the audio commentary for the second one. You get the archival audio commentary as well with Charles Edward Pogg. And then you got Carnival of the Heart, a brand new visual essay by film scholar Alexandra Heller Nicholas, which I found to be extremely fascinating. It's about 11 minutes, but it really puts things in perspective, just what place this has, Psycho 3 has in the franchise. And really kind of highlighted all of those callbacks that this movie makes to the original. So I thought that that was a really great special feature. And you also have a new interview with the composer of the movie, Carter Burwell. Sorry guys, I can't talk sometimes. And then you got all of the past interviews from the Scream Factory release as well, and then the only reason I know that is because it says Scream Factory Presents before you go into them. So you have a lot of the Scream Factory interviews in this set as well, but you have 2 new special features and a new audio commentary. So this one definitely has the most extras as far as special features. And then Psycho 4 does not have a new audio commentary, but it does have a new visual essay by author and critic Guy Adams on music across the franchise. And that's about 18 minutes long. I did not watch that one, but that is the main new special feature here. And then you got some archival features and interviews as well. But the thing about Psycho 4, the beginning that I showed in my unboxing, is that you have the regular version of the beginning, and then you also have the TV aspect ratio version as well. And watching the TV aspect ratio in 4K kind of blew my mind because I swear it looked better than the regular version. I don't know if it was because my eyes were just more focused on a smaller space, but I swear it looked so crisp and clean, just like visually, it was great. But I would obviously rather, watch the widescreen one for sure if I'm watching Psycho 4. But look guys, overall, that's everything. I think I covered it all. This is very hard sometimes to do these types of reviews when you're covering multiple movies. So I hope that I gave you all enough good information. But the main takeaway here is, guys, like, get this, because this is an awesome box set. Arrow Video is king to me right now. They are absolutely on fire. They are killing it. So I will link every, you know, place that you can find this down below in the description and give you all some prices as well. But I think it's going for about 65, 70 bucks, but it is worth every penny. 3 brand new, great restorations for great films. Like, these are really legit. I cannot overemphasize how good these sequels are. Really great sequels. And it's just new audio commentaries, new features. The box is amazing. This booklet is freaking awesome. I love this set. I am in love with this set, and I cannot recommend it enough. So thank y'all so much for watching my review of the Psycho 4-film 4K collector set from Arrow Video. Please, if you can, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and also comment down below your thoughts on all these movies. How would you rank them? Let me know in that comment section below, and we'll see you next time.